Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. This is 𝗟𝗧𝗧𝗦𝗲𝗧 from MassMailer. Today I'm going to talk about the IP and the domain warm-up. I'm sure you must be aware of what the warm-up process is if you've been a MassMailer customer, but I thought maybe it's still important to talk about it as many of you may have questions on this, and maybe you may want to add new domains, and at that time, this webinar would be very useful. Or perhaps if you're actually changing the IP address or adding more IPs and stuff like that, again, this could be a very refreshing webinar for you. End of this webinar, you will basically understand what domain and IP warm-up means and why do you actually need to do this, and how does it really work, and types of warm-up, that is manual and automatic, and what's the difference between them. And in general, what does MassMailer recommend when it comes to manual warm-up, and how does MassMailer auto warm-up work? And again, it's not going to be different, but you'll come to know about all these things, and many of your questions would be answered mostly. And if you still have any questions at the end of this webinar, feel free to just type in your question there. I'm happy to kind of talk through. Okay. What is domain and IP warm-up? As you all know, when we get you onboarded as a new customer for MassMailer, we always give you a brand new IP address. Sometimes you may be using your existing business domain, or you may be getting a brand new domain, provided those are more like cold emails that you're trying to send or sending it to prospects, or you don't want to compromise on the reputation of your business domain, you end up getting a brand new domain. So basically you're getting a new IP address for sure. You may or may not be getting a new domain, but still that IP address is always going to be new. So whenever you get a new IP address or having a new domain, it's very important to make sure that you establish trust with the ISPs around the world, such as Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, AOL, and all of this. And how do you build that trust? You have to have good sender reputation. And in order to building a good sender reputation, it takes time. It's a gradual. It's not starting from day one. So in order for you to not look like a spammer, you have to gradually ramp up the email volume, meaning when you're sending out an email, you have to ramp up the sending volume in the initial days and weeks. Ideally, it is 6 weeks is what we recommend. That's a minimum. But the bare minimum is 2 weeks. So basically, you have to start sending slow. When I say start sending slow, it doesn't mean that you're waiting to warm up the IP by MassMailer. You can actually start sending from day one once we validate all your domain and IP address, DNS values, and DKM, SPF, DMARC, and all of that. And basically, that's all what it means. Basically, you gradually ramp up your sending volume so that you can establish trust with the ISPs. That's all warm-up means, and you do it for both domain and IP address. Every single domain will have its own IP. That's ideal, not a shared IP. Sometimes you may end up getting shared IP, which is okay, but you still have to warm up the domain and IP. And why do you really need this warm-up? I know, again, I spoke about it at a high level, but better to just get in details. First and foremost is basically you have to build the sender reputation. And who do you build this reputation with? The ISPs around there, as I said, Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft, Outlook, or AOL, and the many other servers in the world that would actually are acting as ISPs, right? So you have to build trust with them and reputation with them, and you got to be very cautious about your sending practices. So once you build the trust, then basically you basically treat it as a good sender, not a spammer, right? But it is not a one-time thing, it's a constant thing. As long as you're sending out emails, you have to be very careful about the sending best practices. And you got to monitor your reputation as well. In the initial warm-up period is actually gonna be very, very helpful to build your credibility. And also you would look like you're a legitimate sender if you follow the warm-up process nicely. And it's more like building your credit score. So you got to be making the payments on time, and you have to start spending and make the payments and stuff like that. And eventually you can build a credit score. Same thing. You have to build the sender score, you can call it as the deliverability score. You have to gradually build that credibility over a period of time. And how does it really help? Basically, it's going to help you with the deliverability, right? So if you have a solid or a strong sender reputation, and you will see good deliverability, which means emails going to the inbox. Nobody can guarantee, but you can still assume that if your sender score is high, the emails would land in the inbox, not the spam folder, right? That's what you're going to get. And of course, the opens and click rates also would go high if you have good deliverability score. And how does this warm up again help you with the spam filters and block lists? Because again, ISPs are always monitoring the senders and the sending practices. If they see that all of a sudden you're sending too many emails, that's a red flag. It may look suspicious, so when you're obviously when you're getting a new IP address, you want to start sending slow and do not look suspicious for ISPs. So and that's gonna really help you so that you can bypass all the spam filters and block list. If you're sending too many emails, sometimes you may observe that Yahoo or Gmail are blocking your emails. And that's just because the sender score or maybe a sudden spike in the email volume. So if you sign up for, say, 100,000 email plan with MassMailer, and you're not going to hit 100K in first month, you want to get there as soon as you can. But we recommend that you basically go slow, and ideally in 3 weeks, you may end up having like a 20,000 email volume is ideally recommended. But sometimes you may have to send it sooner. So you just have to follow all the best practices of monitoring your reputation, and list needs to be clean, and your email template needs to be clean. So there are many things that are involved, but this IP warm-up is certainly going to help you if you follow strictly. And also, again, why do you need to do this IP warm-up? And the reason is establish the trust with ISPs, right? So if ISPs look at you as a good sender, then you will see definitely more opens and clicks, and almost zero spam complaints, right? So all these are metrics for ISPs to actually like basically give you a reputation, sender reputation score or sender deliverability score, right? So they're going to look at how many people are opening and how many people are clicking. Do you have spam complaints or not? And that's how they're going to evaluate your sender reputation score. So you have to build that trust right from day one, right? And then when you're doing this warm up, if you have a higher engagement rate, that is also going to help the overall trust factor, right? And how does this really work? Again, uh, try to follow the guidelines that we provide when it comes to manual warm-up. We do have an automated warm-up. I'm gonna get into the details, but if you're doing a manual warm-up, make sure that you're following the best practices which were outlined just a couple of minutes ago, right? So that's how basically the warm-up is going to help you, right? And then how does this really work, right? It's not complicated, pretty easy. And I'm going to outline. First and foremost, we will be guiding you on the recommended email volume, and it's definitely going to be low. And if you're high volume sender, we have a different option though. But if you're low volume sender, or if you're very cautious about your reputation, we always recommend to go with a low volume or a small volume. We have a recommended guideline that we always share with you, and if you do not have it, feel free to send us an email and we can share with that. So make sure that you're sending slow and small volume initially. And do not send it to people who never engaged with you. We don't recommend that. But if there's the very first time that you're sending emails, we can understand. But if you have engaged list of recipients, and we recommend that you always go with them. And you would know who basically open your emails and click your links and stuff like that if you've been um, doing email marketing. But if you do not have that, that's okay. But make sure that at least your list is clean. And you have to scale up your email volume. Um, Ideally, it is 25% every day. So let's say you start with 100 emails day one. Day two is going to be 125. That's the ideal. But again, sometimes you may or may not be able to hit that. That's okay. But make sure that you're increasing the volume gradually. And then also make sure that you actually monitor statistics when you're sending out these warm-up emails initially. How is your open rate and click rate? Do you have any spam complaints, or you have any bounces? And based on that, you can adjust the actual volume or change your list and or change your copy, stuff like that, right? Um, and very important to make sure that you don't get any bounces. We hate that. So you have to make sure that you're getting almost zero hard bounces, especially. So if you do not know if your list is clean, get email verifier, just go ahead and clean up your database. And that way, at least you know that you're not getting any bounces. And then, and again, that's how it is, clean your list. So you basically have to have valid emails and ideally permission-based emails, meaning somebody opted into your email list. But if you're sending out cold emails, we can understand, but at least it has to come from some authentic source, and you're not having any bad emails. They have to be very clean. It's just not about the validity. It's also about, some people are spam complaint, and they complain about spam a lot, and you don't want to send it to them. Sometimes you may have spam trap. You don't want that. And you don't want to send any emails to role-based emails. That's a big flag, red flag. You don't want to do that, at least the warm-up emails. Um, and then sometimes you may end up getting some temporary emails. Never send emails to those temporary emails as well. So there are many different types of emails that you want to avoid. The only way to identify them is using MassMailer verifier. So cleaning your list is very, very important. So these are all like best practices when it comes to the warm-up process. And then there are two types of warm-up, as I mentioned, manual and automated. And then, so very clear when it comes to manual, you are sending it manually, and you're gradually increasing the email volume based on the guidelines that we provide. You have full control on this, as you know, because you're the sender, and you basically have to um, create your own campaigns with small list, and keep sending these emails every single day. When it comes to automated form, all you're doing is just give us an email address. That's all what you need to do. And then we take care of everything else. And of course, you have to set up the DNS values, DMARC and DKIM that we're going to provide to you, even for inboxing or warm-up, auto warm-up. But from your side, you're not really doing other than giving us an email address in the DNS setup. And we take care of all of this by automating this process from our side. How is it efficient? Because there's no scope for error, because we have basically the algorithm or simulation where we take care of sending, opening, clicking, responding back, flagging some emails is important, in making sure the email is taken out from the spam folder. If it lands in the spam folder, put in the inbox, all of that is automated. That will greatly help your sender reputation initially. So that's called auto IP warm-up process, and the difference between these two. And now again, talking about the manual warm-up recommendation, when it comes to volume, I've just highlighted for low volume sender and a high volume sender. The left side is the low volume, right side is the high volume. As you can see, if you start with say 100 on day one, you're going like 25%. So the second day is 125. So you can see the growth in 21 days, 8,000 plus is what you're hitting. And again, if you start with 250 on day one, 21,000 is what you're hitting on day 21. And if you go with a little higher volume, you may start with 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. And again, we're giving you the respective volume increase on day 2 up to day 21. And again, which option you're going to choose based on your needs. Key is to basically to make sure that your list is clean and you're sending it to highly engaged people, and you're monitoring your statistics on a daily basis, making sure that you adjust your volumes in the list and the copy as and when required. Okay. And how does the auto warm-up work? Again, we basically request you to give us an email address from your domain. We start sending out one email on day one, up to 70 interactions we will reach in a couple of weeks. So basically, we are sending dozens of emails to around, say, 1,000 seeded lists that we have. And we are also interacting, and that is done in a periodic schedule or a predefined schedule, right? So we decide how to optimize the interactions and how to optimize the sending volume, so on and so forth, based on the reputation score that we observe, right? That can change. It's not just going to be static. It can be anywhere between 1 to 70 interactions. Gradually, you're going to see those many interactions eventually. And then, we make sure that the emails are, if they are landed in the spam folder, we remove them and put it in inbox, and we make them as important sometimes, and we also reply and open. So these are all positive interactions that we do automatically in a manner that is approved by ISPs, and that will have a positive impact on your sender reputation. It'll gradually improve the sender reputation score. Just an example on how this deliverability score dashboard look like. For the auto warm-up, we only share this if needed. You don't get to access this by default in MassMailer, but it's all behind the scenes. Sometimes we may tell you, hey, there's an issue with your warm-up, and can you please check your sending practices, so on and so forth. So, and then a few more. where you can see how many were sent and how many were actually received and how many conversation running. So all of that is basically in the dashboard that is in-house. And then finally, you have to really do both manual and automated IP warm-up. That's the reason why we always make it mandatory for every single client. And whenever you're getting a new IP or new domain or existing domain starting fresh, we definitely have to have this done. And for if you're having, like, if you're a high volume sender, like, let's say you're sending 100,000 plus, we definitely want you to have the continuous IP warm-up. And that's the reason why you see only in our premier plan, you'll see the email volume 100,000 plus. That's considered as high volume sender. And if based on the number of emails that you're sending, we may end up recommending more than one IP. So ideally, it can be one IP for 250K. And again, we just adjust that based on the discussions that we have and what type of emails you're sending, who are you sending, and based on many factors, we recommend whether it is one IP, two IPs, or three IPs, so on and so forth. Also, ideally, you should have a dedicated IP address for each domain instead of having a shared IP address, because when we're going to whitelist or like authenticate your IP, we always tag that with a specific IP, the domain address. So if you're sharing that IP with other domains, as you can see, it's only validated only or authenticated only for one domain. While I'm not gonna say that it is bad to have shared IP, sometimes it is okay to have it, provided you have all the related businesses, products or services that are sending these emails, and you're sending it to the same list, you're okay. But if it's completely different list, a different purpose and all of that, so then we strongly recommend that you get a different IP address for multiple domains if you need to use multiple domains. So again, it's all case by case basis. We're gonna discuss your needs with you, and based on that, we're gonna recommend that. And overall best practices for better deliverability, make sure that you actually monitor your domain and IP reputation, especially using Google Postmaster tools. And that's very important. And there are other tools as well, but that's what we always recommend. And make sure that your target list is clean. That's very, very important. And also you can analyze your template using MassMailer Email Monitor. And if you identify any issues, you can fix them as well. So these are like overall best practices that you need to follow in email deliverability, but warm-up is very essential. That plays a vital role to build a reputation right from day one. So you should, while you understand while it is very important, you also have to follow the guidelines that we provide to you. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Type in a question, raise your hand. Okay. Seems like no questions here. Yeah, once again, this is a weekly webinar, and I run this on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific. And if there's a break in the webinar series, and again, I tend to catch up. And if you're new to MassMailer, feel free to get on our website and get started with a free trial. We're happy to help with the trial. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me directly or drop us a note at hello@massmailer.io or call us. We have all sorts of communication channels open. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Have a good day, have a good evening, all of you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.